2022 has a lot of hockey intrigue this year, from the Maple Leafs possibly on a Stanley Cup run. Will Ovechkin get closer to Gretzky? Will the Montreal Canadiens finish over 500 for the second half of the season after a Stanley Cup run last year? But we are looking back this week and in the coming weeks at the 50th anniversary of some of the key players and teams in the WHA. Now, we're going to be focusing on the Quebec Nordiques for the next few ones. And there's a reason why. When we were kids, the first Quebec Nordique cards we saw was in the 1972-73 OPG set. Now, numerous WHA players were featured, but this guy's card stood out for a lot of people because he was not only heavily handsome, but had one of the most electric smiles, I think, of any hockey player that we saw at the time. Like, he was basically so glad to be in a Nordiques uniform. Now, he was a Quebec Major Hockey League star for a short while, but what he did in Drummondville of the Q League is basically something that led to his success in the NHL, the CHL, and the AHL. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about one of the key players in Nordiques in that first season. And Michel Archambault was a big left winger, 5'8", 160 pounds. His time in Drummondville led him to be drafted in the second round by Chicago in that big 1970 draft. His last eligible season was with, of course, Drummondville of the QMJHL, expansion of the QJHL. 69 goals, 82 assists for 151 points. Would get this, 167 minutes in penalties. So as a 5'8", 160 pounder, he was getting into trouble on a various basis. Now, how we ended up with the Nordiques was quite interesting. He was selected by the Miami Screaming Eagles in the 72 WHA draft, which was the first WHA draft in February 1972. However, the Screaming Eagles, as a lot of people know, didn't make it to the regular season. So he eventually signed with the Nordiques in 1972. Now, that season was a great year because the majority of players on that Nordique squad were from Quebec. And he had 71 points with the Blackhawks. It was a big part of the season. In 74 was very unique. He ended up with the Maine Nordiques of the NAHL, one of the most popular teams. My good pal Alan Globinski also played with them in that era. He had 108 points in 72 games, including 43 goals. Now, 75, he found his way back with Dallas, 66 points in 70 games. In 76, he had 73 points in 76 games, including 26 goals. Now, 77 was an interesting year. It was his last really big kick of the can in North America before he went to Europe. He played 3 games with the Chicago, but also had another big season in Dallas with 73 points in 72 games. Now, you look at his rough resume, and it's quite interesting. Like, he had his first contract in 1970 with Chicago, but eventually didn't make the big club up until 7 years later, which is very rare. Now, the product of St. Hyacinthe, first came to major prominence in the Montreal, the Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament with a team from St. Hyacinthe. And as a lot of people know, St. Hyacinthe is one of the better programs for minor hockey in all of Quebec. Now, he was a QJHL All-Star second team in 1970 and played in the 68 and 1970 Memorial Cup tournament. Now, he played on the 72 Dallas team that won the CHL regular season crown in 71-72, won the CHL Adams Cup with Dallas in that campaign. Now, he was named to the NAHL's All-Star third team with Maine in 74, named to the CHL All-Star first squad with Dallas in 76, and named to the CHL All-Star first team with Dallas. Now, eventually he found his way to Europe with, I can always have trouble pronouncing this, Feldgleich in the Austrian League. Now, also known as Mike Archambault, he was also known as Pitt. Well, a lot of people know that Pitt was a popular nickname for players like Pitt Martin. Now, He was selected by Indianapolis from Quebec in the WHA expansion draft, but decided not to sign with the Racers. He decided to go back with Chicago. I think Chicago still had his rights. He finished 6th in NHL scoring in 74 with 108 points. Now, again, he decided to return to the NHL Wars rather go to Indianapolis, and I really don't know why. Maybe he felt more at home in Chicago and the Chicago system. Now, he was also the first player drafted out of the Q after the league was formed for the 69-70 season. So that alone gives you a reason why he's smiling. I always wonder, and unfortunately Michel passed away just a couple of years ago, but he was always giving back. He was an assistant coach for the St. Hyacinthe Lasers of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League for a season in the 1990s. And he passed away at age 67, well before his time. From what I heard, a very genial guy, very easygoing. But I'd like to know how a 160-pound player would get 177 minutes in penalties in the Q. I think he was predicting the bigger players on the team. So Michel Archambault, gone but not forgotten. Again, if you're a certain age in Canada, in my age group, 55 to 60, and your first packs of cards were OPG 72, 73, his rookie card really stood out because I think as well, and I maybe Alan Golbinski can back me up in the comments, he was one of the first players to wear number 9 for the Nordiques. Now, there's some photos that show him wearing the number 9. I'm not sure if he wore it in the regular season, but ironically, Maurice Richard was the first head coach of the Nordiques, and he wore number 9. So obviously, you got to be good to wear number 9. It doesn't matter what sport. So Michel Archambault, when he passed away, it was big news in Quebec, especially in the St. Hyacinthe region. He left a lot of people to mourn, but I always go back to that Nordique team where it was totally almost 100% Quebec players. Some Anglophone Quebecers or unilingual Quebecers, French and English, and tremendous. But look at the jersey for the 72-73 season. It is as close as that we've ever seen, I think, to the literal Quebec flag, although a little bit more red. But you'll see in future podcasts how that Nordique jersey that year really stood out because it was a very unique design. It had aspects of Quebec senior, aspect of minor hockey teams, but it had aspects of the 1970, early 70s day glow, multiple colors. So if you like what we're doing here with our WHA podcast, especially in Nordiques, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, requests are very important. If you feel I've maybe forgot somebody from the Nordiques of that era, let me know. There's a lot of podcasts I've done. But Archambault, I want to say, ladies and gentlemen, the third, I can see it like yesterday. The third pack I got at my local convenience store, which is with my school in Ash Creek, Archambault was in that third pack. How do I know that? Because at the top, and I was sure, as God is my witness, it was another player because he kind of had that look of Réjean Hull to him. But, and I said to myself, Réjean Hull's not with Archambault, not with the Nordiques. Even I knew that, but maybe that was a precog of Hull going to the Nordiques. So thanks for listening, and keep your stick in the ice. Bye.